next speaker will be Ofer from the New York Civil Liberties Union. Yay!
Good afternoon, my name is Ofer, that's UDI, Frank, ER. I'm an attorney and the advocacy director of the New York Civil Liberties Union, and I speak today on behalf of the NYCLU and its 48,000 members who live in New York State. The NYCLU stands today with representatives of the Muslim community to call on the NYPD to repudiate the stereotyping and singling out of Muslims as suspects because of their religious faith. Such stereotyping and generalizations violate the very principles of religious freedom and tolerance on which our nation is founded. While we commend Commissioner Kelly for objecting to the screening of the film The Third Jihad to NYPD police officers, simply rejecting it is not enough. Unfortunately, the controversy over the film is only the latest in a series of concerns that have been raised about the NYPD's operations and strategies as they pertain to Muslim New Yorkers. And let me provide you with two examples. First, as reported by numerous news outlets, the NYPD is involved in the hearing and investigation recently initiated by Congressman Peter King into the Muslim community in the United States. As a reminder, Congressman King has stated that 80 to 85% of mosques and Muslim leaders are radicals and is currently investigating the Muslim community and alleging that it shields terrorists and supports terrorism. Shockingly, the NYPD, according to numerous news reports, is directly involved in the King hearing and is the only law enforcement agency in the country that is spending its special resources by assigning a full-time inspector to staff the King hearing and assist it in its investigation. Does that mean that Commissioner Kelly and the NYPD support the King hearings? Does that mean that the NYPD and Commissioner Ray Kelly support the stereotyping and generalization of Muslims as supporters and havens for terrorism? These are questions that we need answered. Secondly, the second example is that of the 2007 report issued by the NYPD called The Radicalization in the West, the Homegrown Threat. There was a report which concluded the radicalization in the Muslim community is spreading here in New York City. In the report, the NYPD stated the signs of radicalization include Muslims frequenting mosques, Muslims frequenting bookstores, Muslims spending time in cafes, and Muslims hanging out in cab driver hangouts. And when Muslims display concerns for, quote, the greater good, according to this report by the NYPD, these are signs of jihadization. The report also stated that giving up cigarettes, drinking, and gambling, and wearing traditional Islamic clothing may also be signs of radicalization and terrorist sympathies. Commissioner Kelly, if this is what the NYPD report states, then what do you teach NYPD officers? The bottom line is that while there are significant reasons for concerns, the public knows very little about where the NYPD stands on the Muslim community in New York and what it teaches its officers. That's why we stand here today to make the following requests. First, the NYPD must be transparent about its views and actions. What is the NYPD's involvement in the King hearings? How did the film The Third Jihad make its way to the counterterrorism curriculum? What else is the NYPD teaching? And does the NYPD's report on radicalization mean that the NYPD considers it justifiable to infiltrate and surveil Muslim New Yorkers who are doing nothing more than attending mosques or give up smoking for the greater good? Second, there's also a role for the City Council right behind us. The City Council should use its oversight responsibilities over the NYPD to learn more about these concerns. What are the NYPD's operations and strategies as they pertain to Muslim New Yorkers? What is the NYPD teaching its police officers about Muslim New Yorkers? It is time to move away from the dark and have an honest conversation about where the NYPD stands on these issues. Religious profiling was unconstitutional before 9/11 and is unconstitutional after 9/11. We need assurance from the NYPD that while it is fighting vigorously to defend New York City from terrorist attacks, it is doing so in such a way that does not needlessly sacrifice civil liberties and civil rights in the name of national security. Thank you.
the NYPD or have seen their response may be wondering, well, is this so bad? I'm here to tell you specifically, yes it is. Here in New York, we have complaints from New York City police officers dating back to last summer about this film being used by consultants who were hired by the NYPD to train their officers in counterterrorism and undercover effectiveness. In August, we told Commissioner Kelly about these complaints, and we were assured that all would be resolved. However, this is not the case. In January, the Village Voice revealed yet more complaints of use of the same exact film in the same situation. Consultants hired by the NYPD to train their officers using Islam-bashing propaganda as educational materials. See, when that article was published, we called on the NYPD to investigate how the notoriously anti-Muslim propaganda film came to be used in counterterrorism training. We also called for new NYPD guidelines to ensure that officer training materials would not harm any religious or minority community. It is clear that the showing of this film is no one-time mistake, but a policy of outsourcing vital training, a policy that has led to Islamophobes posing as experts, sabotaging the very important work of our police officers. See, we are all New Yorkers. And we here in New York with our partners at the Muslim American Civil Liberties Coalition, we have tried and will continue to try to amicably resolve the issue with the NYPD. See, we want to know that when our tax dollars are being spent, they're being used to best inform and most accurately train our police officers so that they can safeguard our city and all of our citizens with care and respect. I want to thank all the council members and community allies that have joined us today, state representatives that sent statements of support, and you, the esteemed members of the media, for standing up for what is right, standing up for American values, and making sure that all Americans are served and protected equally by American law and law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Cyrus. And our final speaker will be Sister Sayeed, also representing MACLAC and the Muslim Consultative Network, as well as Women in Islam. Woo! Woo!
My name is Sayeed, S-A-Y-E-E-D, Sarah with an H, and I'm here with Women in Islam Incorporated, a Muslim women's human rights social justice organization in Africa. I'm going to start before I make my own statement to read the statement of Senator Bill Perkins, Secretary of the District. His release says the Muslim community must have equal protection under the law. Today I join with the Muslim community in requesting and reminding the NYPD that all United States citizens must have equal protection under the law. I'm greatly concerned that the training procedures used by the NYPD, specifically the training video The Third Jihad, undermines genuine criminal investigation and promotes a witch hunt for Muslim agenda. The idea in the film of continually showing an enormous black and white Islamic flag flying over the White House promotes that Islam itself is the enemy as opposed to a specific group of individuals. In fact, in a January New York Village Voice article, The Third Jihad, a police officer, after viewing the movie, said, "After it was over, I was thinking, what was that?" He went on to say it was so ridiculously one-sided. It just made Muslims look like the enemy. It was straight propaganda. It is critical that law enforcement, which has the duty to protect all law-abiding people, not inflame prejudices that can only lead to unequal treatment of one group. The movie The Third Jihad should be immediately removed from the training procedures for the NYPD and a thorough review done of the effectiveness and fairness of future training. Thank you. As president of Women in Islam Incorporated and a member of MACLIC and also a mother of a son who I must raise, I'm shocked and disappointed that Commissioner Kelly has permitted the use of the Third Jihad in a training of officers who are charged with protecting our city. In his response to the community, Commissioner Kelly noted that the film was not a part of the approved training curriculum and that it was projected onto a screen while training attendees were completing administrative paperwork. I would like to ask, why did our commissioner, who has a strong record on policing, allow this inflammatory documentary to be shown at all? Why did the NYPD hire a trainer who would incorporate this film in an administrative period? The commissioner does not state in his letter how many times this training had been playing in the background. Of course, we know from reports from CAIR that this documentary has been shown for quite a long time. the lack of clarity and accountability on an issue that is so pressing for the security and safety of New York City is deeply troubling. It is worse during a time in which many have already said, in which Muslims and other minorities in New York are being targeted by bigotry and stereotyping. Since 2005, if not before, the Muslim community has expressed concern to Commissioner Kelly regarding the use of biased trainers and curriculum. We have asked more than once, including in meetings with the Commissioner, to be given access to the training materials related to Islam and Muslims. We have still not received a reply that substantively addresses our concerns, and enough is enough. As New Yorkers of diverse backgrounds and as Muslims, we need Commissioner Kelly to show us more courtesy, professionalism, and respect. Courtesy, respond to our concerns, investigate thoroughly, and provide clear answers. Professionalism, be transparent about instructors and curriculum related to Islam and Muslims, and be open to receiving our input regarding these trainings. Reaching out to the community cannot be just a token gesture. We have to see results. Respect, be responsible to the trust and the funds that all New Yorkers have vested in our police department. In a city that's been targeted in several plots and serious terrorism, I believe that it's Commissioner Kelly's responsibility to take the utmost care to educate cadets and officers about Islam and Muslims in ways that are culturally competent. There cannot be room for sloppy choices that risk violating our constitutional rights and that ultimately endanger our city. Thank you for all our partners supporting us in this important endeavor, and thank you for helping us get this message out, and I hope that the NYPD hears it.